Hello, everyone, and welcome to At Odds with the Unbreakable Spirit.
And the Executioner Dale Travis.
I am Matthew Smith, aka the Unbreakable Spirit. We are doing pop culture this week, and that means we only have one topic.
Matthew, would you care to tell everyone what the topic is?
The Superman movie needs to succeed. So, let me start the timer, which I need to switch over because we did wrestling that last week, and let me talk to you once I press play. Alright, so we know, as a matter of fact, DC has not had a good track record when it comes to movies as of late.
Yeah.
And I saw on social media, I'm not saying it's true because I saw it on the internet. I rarely trust stuff on the internet. But apparently, if the Superman movie doesn't do good, they might just scrap the James Gunn universe altogether. They might scrap DC Studio.
Yeah, okay. With this movie, time to be brutally honest here. With this movie, first of all, this movie needs one thing more importantly than anything. The story needs to make sense. Because everybody think about, like, dude, you have so many characters. You have Superman, Lois, Jimmy Olsen, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Crypto, Steve,
Lex Luthor,
whoever that thing he's fighting.
Yeah, you literally have, like, DC's equivalent of Godzilla. The thing even looks like Godzilla.
And Godzilla's the king of DC Comics.
For Romeo, it might be Godzilla since there was a comic called The Justice League vs. Godzilla.
And King Kong.
So the Justice League versus the Kaiju League, pretty much.
Yeah, like, my honest, brutal thoughts is I'm just like, okay, make the plot make sense. Like, make also, like, this shit connect to what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, to Creature Commandos.
We saw Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, or at least their silhouettes, in Creature Commandos.
Yeah, like, my thoughts is just like, okay, give everybody, I'm gonna say my last piece here for now. Make sure that, everybody has a good amount of screen time and make sure it makes the plot good. What do you got?
Like, I'm not saying the movie shouldn't be good. It needs to be good, but this topic's about it needs to succeed, because if it does, it can spell the doom for DC movies, or at least their live-action movies. Because animation, they're popping off. It's specifically live action that DC's having a problem with.
Yeah.
Because let's not sugarcoat it, the Snyderverse didn't do very well.
No, it did not. What's your honest opinion on what this movie needs to do to succeed?
It needs to not only serve as a Superman movie, but set up future movies.
Agreed.
Like, I don't agree that Creature Commandos should have been the start of the DCU. This should have been what started it. And believe it or not, when you think about it, a Snyderverse era movie was technically the start of this universe with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Because there was a character in Creature Commandos, which was the start of this universe, that was also in that movie. Weasel.
Which character? Yes. Yeah, okay. If you're gonna, and also, Viola Davis is Waller, which, by the way, great casting choice. But my thought is this: if you're gonna have something, if this movie is to succeed, like I said, you not only need a good plot, but you also need something that makes me want to care about this version of Superman and all the other heroes. Not to mention, if Lex Luthor is the quote bad guy of this movie, with how many characters are in this movie, I'm not even sure he is, to be 100%
I just realized we forgot a character that might appear in the movie. Maxwell Lord, because he's funding, like, if you look at the suits that Hawkgirl and Green Lantern are wearing, they're Maxwell Lord suits.
Yeah.
They're I hate to say this, government commissioned Justice League.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a superhero movie and you're starting off, and this is supposed to start off, your plot. Okay, I'm not gonna mention the plot, but if Lex Luthor is the villain, if Lex Luthor has his already hatred for Superman, you're gonna need to show me why does this Lex Luthor hate Superman? What's his motivation for doing it? Is this Lex Luthor gonna be Venice?
Yes, and most likely.
Because also, like, if you're gonna, also, this is just something, why? Okay, why bring in new characters to this universe? Okay, what are your thoughts? Sorry, I'll shut up. What are your floor yours?
I'll reference a past episode. When we did our own how we would do a DCU, we had a plan to have movies for each character, and we didn't shoehorn in characters that don't have their own movie.
For example,
the last Green Lantern movie we had starred Ryan Reynolds and it was Hal Jordan.
yes.
Why are we having Guy Gardner? He was introduced to like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. True.
Like, give us a reason to know. Also, we don't know if Hawkgirl is an alien general or a human that is cursed or something.
Yeah, okay. Here's something that this movie needs. That is okay. You need like a tone. Okay, if this movie is to succeed, you need 100% more than anything, not just like a tone, but you need to establish, like what exists in this world. What doesn't exist? Does the Justice League exist? Does it not exist?
The
Is there
Justice
a
League
government
doesn't
form?
exist yet. If this isn't early Superman, the Justice League does not exist.
Right.
This is
That
not
makes
the Arkhamverse where Superman randomly showed up to Batman and was like, hey, want to form a super team with me? I mean, you just revealed I'm Batman, but sure, whatever.
Yeah, my thoughts is like any movie. Like, okay, look, whoever you have, like, portray like these new characters, make the casting choice. Take Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, the guy
Who is the voice of Hal Jordan in so many animated projects.
which is absolutely funny. It's like, also, if he's gonna be Guy Gardner, you gotta make this guy an asshole. I get it.
And maybe make him get knocked out in one punch.
Yes.
Whether it be by Superman, Maxwell Lord, or heck, even Mr. Terrific.
Someone needs to knock that
make
dude out.
himself knock himself out.
He throws like a hologram, of a baseball.
He throws like a holographic, like a hard construct of a fist, like in the first Green Lantern movie. But instead of hitting the person it hits, it just turns around and hits him.
Make him, okay, I hate to say this, but make him the comedy actor of the movie.
Yeah, make him like the comic relief. I have to say, make him the Beast Boy of Teen Titans 03.
What else do you feel this movie needs to succeed? Honestly.
I feel like it needs to establish the history of this world.
Completely agree.
Like, I hate to say it, but have Snyder flashbacks. Show us how Lois and Clark met. Show us how they started dating. Establish the universe through flashback.
Yeah, and don't just, and I'm going to add on to that, but don't just, because look, I know that you have said, James Gunn, that you're not doing Origins, which I completely get.
Yeah, because we've seen over hundreds of times.
But, like, I completely get not wanting to do an origin. However, my thought is, you're going to need to fill us in on how this person got to who they are.
Yeah, you're going to need to show us the history of this person. Whether it's through exposition or if it's through flashback, I don't care. And we're getting off topic. This movie needs to succeed is the reason that we're talking about this.
Yeah. And if you want this movie to succeed, you need, more importantly, yes, you need a plot. Yes, you need a good villain. But it's just, I'm agree with you on that, is that, I need to know, like, who heroes exist. How long have they been active? You need to build up this world, explore more than just Metropolis in this
Yeah.
one movie.
Yeah, and like we've seen potentially him going to other parts of the world with that little boy that pulls up the Superman flag and is like saying his name. Like you don't say like, and I hate to say this about a character in a movie, but kid, Superman is not Beetlejuice. You don't say his name 3 times and it just randomly shows up.
It's Joe Hendrick.
Yeah. You don't say his name and he appears, even though he can hear you.
Okay,
How has someone
what-
not made a Superman parody of the Joe Hendry theme song?
okay. What this movie needs to succeed is okay, and you're gonna also need to fill us in, like, has Superman met Batman? Have those two met? Like, just like sprinkle that or something.
Yeah, like we could have a world's finest movie if we wanted.
Look,
Because apparently the Gunverse doesn't have a plan for Wonder Woman yet.
okay, guys, you can't have. I need to say this. I mean this with my chest. You cannot have a goddamn superhero universe without Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. It's not possible.
You cannot not a superhero universe, DC universe without the big three, without the Trinity. Otherwise, your universe will be will be dead.
I mean, hell, that's what the side of
And,
us
like,
did.
the only thing even related to Wonder Woman and Themyscira is Paradise Lost, which is a story on Themyscira before Wonder Woman was even created or born, depending on the origin they go with. See episode from 2 weeks ago for reference.
Yes. Hey, okay. Hey, look, I mean this with my chest here, that at least that is something the New 52 and the Zack Snyder universe did right. They introduced Wonder Woman immediately.
Yeah, or at least in its second outing, which served as a Batman solo film, but also a Superman sequel. It also introduced Wonder Woman. It also introduced Lex Luthor. It also introduced Doomsday. And oh wait, Superman James Gunn universe is running into the same problem.
What's that problem? Too many characters?
Yes.
Yeah, you have the engineer, you have Lois Lane, you have Jimmy Olsen, you have Perry White, you have Jonathan, you have Martha, you have
You have Lex
Gardner,
Luthor. You have Hawkgirl. We don't even know if it's Sierra Indra. You have Guy Gardner. You have Mr. Terrific. You have that random kaiju guy. You have Crypto. You're probably gonna have holograms of Jor-El and Mara or something.
And not also to mention, you're probably gonna also have whoever that. Yeah, and also you're gonna have Rick Flag Jr. Senior in this movie.
Yeah. By the end of the movie, you're probably gonna hear heartbeat in Lois Lane's belly.
And also, not to mention, you got that the guy with the mask, whoever the hell he is.
Yeah, but like low key, I legitimately think like you've seen the trailer in one of the trailers. We've seen Lois and Clark making out. She's probably gonna be pregnant by the end of the movie.
Yeah, and my end, okay, the most important thing you need to establish is let us know that Clark is Superman. I'm gonna guess yes.
Probably will by the end of the movie. I mean, we see in one of the trailers them like holding hands. I bet he's about to take her for a nighttime flight.
Yeah, with whatever that. Okay, all I want to say is this: is that you need look. If you want Superman, okay, here's something that this movie needs. You need me as the comic book viewer to believe, okay, yeah, sure, Clark Kent may not look like Clark Kent and Superman, but I need to be like, yeah, I could totally see that David Cornsweet is playing two. He may look completely separate, but I want him to act like two completely separate people.
I mean, he kind of looks like 3 different people when you think about it. He's got that dumb perm wig at one point. Then when he's hanging out with Pa Kent, he looks like he'd be in like a British boy band or something. And then he looks like Superman when he has the spit curl.
Yeah, my thought is like, if this movie is to succeed, you are not only going to need to build up. What are your thoughts? You remember? Okay, here's one thing I need is that don't just cram everything in one movie. Leave it. Also, if there's a post-credit scene, I need to get this out of my system. If there is a post-credit scene for this damn movie, have it lead to something else.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This is what I would do for a post-credit scene, but the problem is they haven't casted a Batman yet. I would have Superman being patrolling Metropolis at night, saving people and stuff. And one thug is about to try to hurt Superman, and he just gets pulled into the shadows and knocked out. And then Superman turns around, and you just hear, "Hello, Clark." Superman should be like, "Who are you?" And then Batman just walks out of the shadows. "I'm Batman."
Okay, here's something I want for this Superman movie is
It can either be that post-credit scene or Lois telling Clark that she's pregnant. Because legitimately, I'm pretty sure that she's gonna at least be pregnant by the end of the movie. If not, Superman's gonna make a diamond ring for her.
okay. Here's something I want for this movie is I want more than anything else is I want me as the audience to actually give a about Superman as a character, his version. Make me care.
Yeah, and to be fair, we're both more of Gothamites than we are Metropolisians. I don't know what the people of Metropolis are called.
Yeah, but okay, like if you're gonna look, also leave the door open, and I mean this, and I need to say this, but don't just always lead on Lex Luthor. Make sure like yeah,
Make
establish
sure, make hints to other villains in the universe.
yeah, make hints to other people.
Have an accident happen at a lab that creates Parasite.
Yeah, or you have
something happen to create Ultra Humanite.
Or have something happen that creates Mataro because of my work. You have some villains in Superman's look. You want James Gunn. Your whole thing is bringing obscure characters to live action and making them work. What better character to do that with than with Mataro? He's an obscure character, but that dude's a threat.
Yeah, and if you want to do big bads, have a portal in space open and some Kryptonians escape the Phantom Zone, or have Brainiac detect 2 Kryptonians on Earth, because keep in mind, Emilia Clarke is playing Supergirl in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and also, if you want to tease something with that, something with Robo tease up, since you got that big, since you got the man.
Yeah, hey, have Karen in the background buying a cat for all I care. Because he has a cat.
Yeah, which
I'm
also
not talking about the one in between your legs. Get your minds out of the gutter, people. I'm talking a regular tabby cat or something.
Actually, I have actually done some research. That cat is well, what's the word I'm looking for? That cat's basically a cat, crypto.
Yeah, I know. Except it gets its powers from kryptonite, though. Ex-kryptonite, to be precise.
Okay.
Also, don't have Supergirl fall in love with a horse. That would be weird.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one.
Right? It was a man who got cursed to be a centaur and tried to reverse it, but then he turned himself into an actual horse, who is apparently immortal.
Okay. Here's something that this James Gunn universe desperately needs, and that is if the Justice League is gonna form, you need a big threat for the Justice League to exist. And also,
I don't think there's a Justice League movie slated for what we know of Chapter 1.
But also, we need to know, hey, as a comic book fan, what exists? Who exists as heroes? Who doesn't exist? Does Aquaman exist? Does Aquaman not exist? What the hell's going on with Atlantis?
Yeah, and to be fair, since Jason Momoa is no longer Aquaman, is now Lobo, is Aquaman?
Yeah.
Are we getting crossover Aquaman? Are we getting 90s Aquaman? We need to know the status of these characters.
Yes.
Is Aquaman with Mera? Yeah. Are they married? Do they have a kid? Give us this universe. James. let me give you a suggestion. In the lead up for these other movies that are happening, it's too late to do for Superman. Give us Max streaming shows about the other characters of the universe so we have a consistent status quo for your universe.
Yeah, like also, hey, build up Gotham because don't just focus on what's going on here in Metropolis. I want to know what's going on across the pond.
Yeah.
I mean, not across the pond. I mean, like across the river.
Through the river, through the woods, to Gotham's house we go. I know what you mean.
Okay, but what I need for this movie universe to succeed is I want Superman. I want people in this universe when they see Superman to be like, oh, okay, I want them to see like a symbol of hope, a symbol of
And I hate to
hey,
say it, but like Matt Reeves has done a better job at building out his Batverse, and his GCP show got canceled.
yeah. My thoughts is like I want for this James Gunn universe, like I want like yes more consistency with villains and characters, but I need to know if this
The
movie
main thing we want is backstory for said characters.
yeah, I'm like okay look, alright, I'm gonna talk about Superman is yes everybody knows Superman's character, but you need to build up that version of Superman's character. Don't just have us jump into the middle of some action because if this is like some early years, we need to know
Or
what's happening.
if the first scene of this movie is falling into the sword, have a freeze frame, and Superman be like, so you're probably wondering how I got in this situation. Let me tell you the story.
I'm like, look, you need to fill in the gaps because if this is like a Superman in his year two, if this movie just jumps into the action, I need to know what's going on in this world. I need to know shit. I can't just be
And also, like, how long has he been wearing that suit? Is this his first suit? Like, we know nothing about this movie, and I'm trying to avoid advertisements for movies at all points, so I don't get spoiled on anything.
Yeah, we will definitely return to this topic. Or James
Yeah,
Gunn University.
probably if something we announce next week is over by then, before July 11th. But yeah, we have something to announce next week, and you'll have to wait for what that is.